All right, so our next biomacromolecule are lipids. So lipids are a bit of a weird one. They comprise like a whole bunch of different types of compounds, and they're basically just grouped together because they can be extracted using nonpolar solvents. And so you can see that's kind of very generic and doesn't really tell you much about their function and whatnot and their structure, other than the fact that they are nonpolar. But anyways, here we go. There's two main types of lipids. First is complex. And then, of course, the other kind is going to be simple. The irony here, of course, is that I would argue that the complex ones are actually more simple than the simple ones, but whatever. The complex ones are characterized by the fact that they can be hydrolyzed. And that's because they all have esters, right? So remember, our ester is carbonyl, oxygen, and then an R group. And then we can hydrolyze that in either acidic or basic conditions into a carboxylic acid and an alcohol. It's called hydrolyzed because water is what's doing the nucleophilic attack. There's three main types: waxes, which for humans aren't that important, but they play big roles in other types of animals. There's triglycerides, which is kind of what we think of when we think of lipids, because we often think of fat, and that's kind of triglycerides are what we think of when we think of fat. And then phospholipids, which are kind of very similar to triglycerides, and they are what makes up most of our cell membrane. So obviously an important role there. The simple ones, right, classified because they cannot be hydrolyzed. So in this case, they don't have some sort of ester, and they contain steroids, prostaglandins, which are both of these are very common in kind of humans and animals, oftentimes for signaling, telling your body, what to upregulate, downregulate, that kind of thing. And then finally, terpenes, which are more commonly found in plants. So for example, when we did the GC lab, we did GC with pinene, different types of pinene, and that's a terpene found in obviously pine trees. So we'll take a look at all of these in more detail coming up.